Joe Merrick has a god complex to match his shitty ego. I don't know what makes Joe Merrick think he is some kind of bringer of truth every single time his Papa Game Freak receives any and all kinds of criticism. But this, I dare say, is the latest and greatest self-destructing low that Joe Merrick has stooped to, and it only made him look even more insecure in Game Freak's stead at that. Instead of being a self-proclaimed freelance journalist, this clown thinks he's Game Freak's legal team. Mystery gifts have gotten so fucking lame that so far, Game Freak is releasing all kinds of Subway distributions for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet 2077. But on the flip side of things, they're giving away 20,000 League points to your ungrateful asses, so there's that. You know, with Insolent Game Freak being rushed to shit out these incomplete products of theirs, I'm surprised they even have time to release such 5-star distributions. So making a joke means that you're doing things for clout. Well, let's see what actually went down. It's disingenuous to claim something is for clout when they say it's a joke and they add a bit of context behind it.
Thing is, him saying it was a joke in a separate tweet when it's not even a joke, as it's the same rhetoric my mentions and posts have been filled with, doesn't dismiss it from criticism.
He felt emasculated enough to pretend that everyone's saying the same rhetoric as he put it. Nice mental gymnastics, youngster Joey, by the way, means that it's not a joke. This is Game Freak's judge, jury, and prosecutor, by the way. Everybody says the same thing. It's not funny. Then Lu2 enters the chat. Why would he then go on to vague post about him to his hundreds and thousands of followers without that bit of context that can easily be found in this video and not see it as disingenuous? Youngster Joey says it got retweeted on his feed, seemingly having gone viral. In other words, he assumed that it went viral because people retweet things. That's how Twitter works. It contained the same rhetoric that he has seen countless times. You assumed it went viral because someone retweeted it on your feed. How dare someone retweet anything, especially any kind of criticism you don't want to hear about your daddy Game Freak on your feed. So where does that leave you, youngster Joey? A hole in your foot because you shot yourself so many times in one dumb and poor response and a tweet. To add more insult to injury, he confirms that he is clueless about it being a joke because he's throwing all kinds of assumptions around. If it was a joke, then it was really not obvious, but you assumed it wasn't a joke to begin with. You're just wrong. I replied that it was a joke literally a few minutes after I posted it. Why ignore all of the context before making a Twitter thread about social media clout to your followers? This is just a shitty thing to do. Here is more context, youngster Joey. If you remove Game Freak's dick out of your face for a second, maybe your vision will get better. To clarify, this is not a serious complaint. If you have any further queries on my Pokemon mystery gift options, please contact my social media manager. He's just shit posting excuses to further avoid accountability, which is amazing because he manages an apology out of all of these weasel words. But considering how disingenuous this stand's assumptions to defend his precious Game Freak with are, I'll leave it to you to decide how genuine this apology is. And then he backpedals. Now the tweet wasn't aimed at him. It's aimed at everyone else that confused him into thinking that Lu2's joke was the same rhetoric and not a joke that threatened the life of his Papa Game Freak, only to get his ass shut down in the next tweet. And now he sees how it can be seen and he is honestly sorry. You know what, Joe Merrick? Your problem that everyone continues to criticize you over is your God complex and need to open your simping mouth every single time someone says anything about Game Freak. You don't have the answers. Why do you feel personally attacked enough to run your damn mouth? Period. You don't have to answer every and anything on Twitter of all places, whether it's misinformation or not. You're not their legal team. You're You're not some bringer of truth. And being a self-proclaimed freelance journalist does not amount to any kind of qualification. Your job is to be a webmaster of a 20-plus-year-old site. What exactly is the false equivalency? Who cares that we're just 3 weeks into Scarlet and Violet's 2077? Many people weren't around back in Gens 4 and 5 where distributions were so few and far between, and so they seemed granted as they were predominantly the mythical distributions which happened once a year with a later repeat. It also wasn't until late in the 4th generation of Pokemon games that we got online ones. I'm sure anyone with a brain will agree that mythical distributions are a lot better than Subway distributions. You can cherry pick and straw man all day, but that's the equivalency people are making, especially with the games only being 3 weeks old. Who cares about the reasons behind these distributions? Can you not find these ingredients and sandwiches in the games? Along with league points? We can say the same shit about any and every distribution that Game Freak has ever released to the general public. If people want to criticize how lame Subway distributions are compared to distributions in the past, they are well within their right to do that. And it doesn't help when you gatekeep and only have cherry picking and straw men for your so-called backup arguments. It's not worthless or downgrade. These aren't replacements. Congratulations, youngster Joey. As you grab your shorts that are comfy and easy to wear, along with a Cantonian Rattata, pat yourself on the head because you just learned how to make a subjective statement. Let's talk about those events. Regardless of when they were released, remember the shiny Suicune, Entei, and Raikou that were released with the 4th gen games, along with an event exclusive berry attached to each of them? Gatekeeping people's far more accurate observations about event distributions in Pokemon games then and now only makes you look like the clueless stan that you only know how to be, hiding behind your Twitter feed. Speaking of mythical Pokemon, did we not get a whole fucking Victini included with every copy of Pokemon Black and White when they first released? That's why Joe Mayer can only strawman, cherry pick, and gatekeep with some bringer of truth shit over a joke someone made on Twitter. And he still got his facts wrong. Just trust him, bro. Here are just some of the distributions that we used to get in the Pokemon games, whether they were released when the games released or later on in the game's lifespan. And if you're lucky to be a part of the Japanese Master Race, at some point they even got a Master Ball distribution. Joey, I don't hear you. I'm serious. It's not a joke. Even better than that was the shiny Beldum with the Metagross sight that we got when Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire released. And there it is, ladies and gents. Another fucking Publicify, i.e. another narcissistic ass clown. Why do I have to say this? Well, this is the shit you go through when it comes to the Game Freak stans / NPCs that are too fucking cancerous to not get personally attacked whenever someone says anything about their sacred fucking cows. Joe Merrick's God complex has caused him to give himself some unwarranted and imaginary responsibility to dispel misinformation, even though he's no more virtuous than anyone else in the Pokemon community and in general. Oh yeah, there's also Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon's Dusk Rockruff distribution that was released along with the games. And let's not forget Sun and Moon's Snorlium Z distribution that was also released along with the games. Aside from managing a legitimate apology for your toxic machinations in the name of your Papa Game Freak, youngster Joey, do you have any other weasel words you want to dispel misinformation with? Or do people need to work overtime to dispel your own?